He's got some room. He dribbles. Ingles fakes one inbound. Finds Hayward. He's got some room. He dribbles right. Steps back from 20 and hits! Gordon Hayward!
Hey,
And they mob him!
and I tell you what, Gail Miller, the owner of the team, is probably covering her head over there to make sure that
nobody can hear a word you said, right?
All right, I have no idea what's happened today. We've had some technical issue right out of the chute. So let's just try to restart it, and then on audio, at least, it will restart correctly. I think that's what can happen. Apologize. I have something I'm concerned about, and so I was trying to fix that. But let's try it again. All right, tip-off starts in 3, 2, 1.
Ingles fakes one inbound. Finds Hayward. He's got some room. He dribbles right. Steps back from 20 and hits! Gordon Hayward!
Hey,
And they mob him!
and I tell you what, Gail Miller, the owner of the team, is probably covering her head over there to make sure.
By the way, that didn't work either. Let's try it again. Comes down 3, 2, 1.
Ingles fakes one inbound. Finds Hayward. He's got some room. He dribbles right. Steps back from 20 and hits! Gordon Hayward!
Hey,
And they mob him!
and I tell you what, Gail Miller, the owner of the team, is probably covering her head over there to make sure that
nobody can hear a word you said,
Well,
right?
I'll shut up then. And
Gordon Hayward!
And LeBron James loses 5 of his last 6 ball games here in Salt Lake City.
It is tip-off coming to you live from beautiful Cleveland, Ohio. All right, maybe not that beautiful. It's snowing. We'll talk about tip-off today. We'll break down the NBA 5, then we'll dig deep in the Utah Jazz, and we'll tribute a member of the Jazz family. It's all coming up on today's edition of Tip-Off. Pow! Hello, welcome to Tip-Off. I'm David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, Jazz NBA insider. We do this each and every morning for you here. We open up with the NBA 5 minutes about the NBA, and then we proceed to talk about the dig deep on the Utah Jazz, a bunch of things of all of that sort. Today is actually, we knew about this happened Sunday. We all got word on Sunday on this. But today is a sad day in the Jazz family, or at least publicly yesterday, or, just a sad moment in the Jazz family, because this man right here, Wally Price, all 99 years of Wally Price passed away. Wally, one of the and if you're on audio, it's a little vine of Wally dancing. So Wally greeted all of us each and every day at the back entrance from all the time that anybody's ever been. I mean, I spoke with Wally all the time when I first lived here. When I came in as a Seattle Supersonic announcer, it was one of the first things I did was stop to say hi to Wally. So glad to see him. Last I saw him was right after New Year's. I asked him how many New Year's he'd had as he worked his way toward 100 New Year's days. Just a wonderful man, great energy, obviously a full life, and very much a signature to who and what the Utah Jazz are. That the Jazz are a family led by Larry and Gail and the Miller family, that from every aspect of this organization, your family. So Wally, who is the usher that works at the back gate, when the players and people come in that way, he's family. He stays till he's 100, and spends his final days as usher in his green jacket with Wally P on his name tag for the Utah Jazz. And it's Richard at my location, and LaRue, and June was a great friend of mine who passed last year. These are part of the Utah Jazz family. It's what separates the Jazz. What makes, not maybe separates, I don't know, I can't say that about other organizations, but it was what makes the Jazz truly a special organization, a special place, is the Miller family commitment to these people, commitment to the atmosphere, commitment to the family that is the Utah Jazz. And Wally is as I tweeted out yesterday, he's the patriarch of that. He's kind of the essence of all of that is Utah Jazz family. So it's a very big moment, because it's not just one individual person in Wally who is himself worthy of a big individual moment and 100-year life, but it is also a statement about what the Millers are, who they are, how they do things, how the Jazz organization does things, and what they are. All right, here's your beautiful day in Cleveland, Ohio. It's snowy and gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous Cleveland, Ohio here for your view today. I have a nice American flag out my window. I don't think I can get it to you. No, that's my viewpoint. But no, it's just a white and snowy and nice view coming out. So let's hit the NBA 5. Nylon Calculus, who does just fabulous work, has done another neat piece here recently on what you shoot in circumstances off the dribble or catch and shoot. I think it's interesting. This is why you want to play with a pass. Catch and shoot, tight coverage actually happens a good amount of time, 16% of the time. And you hit 33% of your shots. Dribble tight coverage, you hit 26%. So there's it's actually 33 and 26, 7% difference. Catch and shoot open versus versus open off the bounce. Everyone kind of thinks, you got that rhythm shot. Evidently not. Catch and shoot open happens 44% of all shots in the NBA. 36% catch and shoot off the bounce, 32%. Wide open catch and shoot, 39%. Wide open off the bounce, 35.5%. That was interesting. But the idea of how far, what the difference is. So it's anywhere from 6 to 4 percentage points. That's why you play with a pass, and why you continue to play with the pass and try to work for those opportunities along the way. That's what separates, right now, those teams. And Quinn, I talked about the other day, he basically said, hey, it's just making threes. But the teams that have the highest percentage of field goals assisted are winning right now. It seems to be a fairly good indicator to victory. Not all teams. Oklahoma City plays a one-on-one and it works, and it doesn't have to be universal. But so let me rephrase it. It's not that that's the only way to win, but that does seem to be for many teams a manner by which they win. If that makes, because I think I got to be a little careful here. There's outliers on all of this. Philadelphia, if I remember correctly, has a huge percentage of their field goals assisted as well. But the teams that assist the most field goals in the NBA are Atlanta 68%, Warriors 65%, Spurs 64%, Wizards 64%, Boston 64%, Celtics 63.5%, Bucks 61%. And then you go down to the bottom, Phoenix plays the most isolation, followed by Sacramento, Oklahoma City, Toronto. So 3 of those 4 teams are winning an awful lot. Then there's Orlando and the Pelicans and Charlotte and the Lakers, Denver and Utah. You'd probably say, they probably need to make some shots. Quinn's comment is, it's shot making. You move the ball, it's shot making. And it's interesting because where teams separate themselves is 2-pointers. The Jazz have the 4th most amount of assisted threes in the league, but we have about the least amount of 2%. We're one of the 5 or 6 lowest teams in 2-point percentage that's assisted. You would think that somebody like LeBron on a team, for my new audience from Cleveland today, because I did a show there yesterday, they're actually just middle of the pack. They're at 58.6% of their field goals being assisted. Big news in Portland coming out today. LaMarcus Aldridge is getting an MRI on his thumb. We'll see what happens with that. That could obviously change the Western Conference. LaMarcus is, obviously important. Dame and the Batum were to suddenly start playing well, they could probably cover it a little bit. But there's a lot of space on that floor that LaMarcus, he's got incredible gravity, I guess, as you want to refer to it. I watched the Chicago-Cleveland game on the flight yesterday. I got to say this, as much as Derrick Rose went off after that game, he was off. About what's going on in Chicago, because he was 1 of 7 in the first half and killing that team, and then goes afterwards and blasts them, which makes you wonder what the chemistry there is. Flip Saunders is talking about doing late shoot-arounds, which is probably something you don't really care about. Use any of that information. I'm not sure these guys all follow it. He's saying, hey, if I put him out on the floor and we shoot around right before the game at 4 or 5 o'clock, we'll be able to figure it out. I'm having some video issues here. I'm not quite sure what's going on with it, but we'll hopefully get it back. The camera is turned off right now, and it is deciding it doesn't like my. We'll see what happens here if we can get the camera back. A different camera or just any camera off. But doesn't look like the camera wants to come back on. For those of you who are new to the show, you're seeing all of our technical prowess at one time. Dion Waiters is interesting right now. Dion Waiters averaging 17 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists at Oklahoma City. 51% shooting, 46 from 3. His answer was, I like to touch the ball. Asked why he's playing better. The only problem with that is he's actually touching the ball less in Oklahoma City than he did in Cleveland. What he really likes to do is make shots. He's making 46% of his mid-range. He's getting 1 more shot attempt mid-range. He was making 31. His above-the-break 3 has gone from 14 to 44%. So he really likes to make shots. Is Oklahoma City doing something that Cleveland did not to allow him to make shots? That's something that obviously is hard to tell over time. Or is it just a blip on the radar screen where he ends up progressing back to the mean, which is, since considering my love for Dion Waiters, is probably what I would suggest, is that eventually he'll drop back down to the mean, but maybe I'm out. This is clear, to some extent. They go have the MRI and clearly he's structurally clean again. So it's a little, I guess it could be much worse, right? I don't know if it's disconcerting. It could be a lot worse that he could be finding structural damage. He's not. How about Joe Ingles? Joe Ingles goes from being cut twice by the Warriors in a few years, then cut by the Clippers, to now he'll probably start 50 games this year as the starting 2 guard for the Utah Jazz. With Alec Burks and Rodney Hood out, Elijah Millsap is the big winner on this one, at least in my book. I assume, I don't know this for a fact, but he's got another opportunity for another few days to get some big minutes and play on his 10-day contract. He's going to get an awful lot of time on 2 10-day contracts to show whether or not he's of NBA caliber. He came out of ball of fire defensively with great energy. It has tempered down a little bit recently as he's kind of struggled, I think, a bit. And there's just things you can't do in this league that you can do in the D League, and that's and he's at times a bit. I don't know if you want to say out of control, but at times it does seem as though maybe he's a little bit out of control, and his turnover rate is high. He'll have to get those things and figure them out. If he can figure it out, if he can figure out how to be those type of things under control, his defensive prowess is quite special. Some interesting little data points, if I can show them to you. Let's see if screen share. I have to pull them up if We'll see if screen share is going to work here. All right, let's see if, since my camera is not working, will screen share work? I think so. Though if you're still watching on this, I'm not sure why. So what did I just pull up? This is the Jazz defensive rating, and it's pretty small on your screen. In 40 game, actually their whole stuff in 40 game sequences. So games 1 through 10, the Jazz ranked 28th defensively. Games 11 through 20, the Jazz ranked 30th defensively. Games 21 through 30, they then went to 15th. In game 31 through 40, they were 13th defensively. Overall, they went from being 20th to 26th as a team to 17th to 15th. So for the last 20 games, the Jazz have been a middle-of-the-road team, which is a huge step from being one of the worst teams in the league. The defensive rating over the last 16 games has been 101.1, which is 11th in the NBA over the last 16 games. That's pretty exciting. The other screen that I would share with you, I have to check and see whether it's up, is the following, which digs the same thing into our 4 factors. And what's interesting on this is we started the year shooting very well. Teams kind of maybe figures that we're kind of improving again in that area, despite this doesn't have the San Antonio game in it. Our turnover rate recently is a big problem. Teams have figured us out. They're playing with a little force, and we're turning the ball over at an alarmingly high rate over the last 20 games. We're 26 and 27. I actually don't think that's that big a deal. Turnovers have rarely shown that they correlate to winning. So turnovers, if we're going to commit some turnovers, it's not the worst thing. Offensive rebound. 40, we're the 11th effective field goal percentage team. We started not fouling at all. We got a little more aggressive. Now we're back down to normal, and we're beginning to force some turnovers. We were last in the league in forcing turnovers or in that area, and now we're beginning to force some turnovers, and we've become a better defensive rebounding team as of late. So all those things are nice trends on where this team is going. All right, let's take some questions before my phone rings and tells me that my kids want to do a morning hangout. Can you name a young player or two that really caught your eye lately with his play against the Jazz? Well, Andrew Wiggins, but I mean, are you trying to talk about guys we should acquire or just no? Andrew Wiggins has been great. This rookie class is really scuffling. Miricic in Chicago is not necessarily young in the same way, but I like him, though he doesn't play any defense. I don't know. Looking back at our schedule right now to see if there's anybody that jumps out to me that we've played. Draymond Green's fabulous. Does that count as a young player? I think he'll be good anywhere. That's probably it. You thought that Trey's better play might be in part not having Dante put the heat on when X got to start. Do you think the same could be true in reverse for Ennis with Rudy's success starting? Ennis feels more pressure. Yeah, Ennis is in a funky spot right now. He's got to get out of it. Let's hope he does. I'm rooting for him. So yeah, I think Ennis is just feeling contract. Does this team like me? I didn't get an extension. Oh my gosh, now they have Rudy. They really don't like me. Yeah, I think all of that plays. I think all of that plays. Ennis is, Ennis is not. Ennis is a bit fragile and doesn't have a natural support system the same way as some other people do. So I think there's, yeah, sure. I mean, they're very human, right? I guess Ennis, fragile is the wrong word. He's very human. Is the way I'd put it. I, like you, think we hope we give Ennis more chances. I remember the last few years, he hasn't had a full normal offseason in his career. If I remember right, rookie year was lockout, knee injury. Thoughts? Yeah, I think that and lack of experience. I just think his lack of natural feel for the game, I think, hurts him, and always has. Andrew Nichols. Looking at our squad, I see Gordon, Derek Favors, Trey Burke, Rudy Gobert with a chip on the shoulder attitude to prove doubters wrong. Is that what is missing from Ennis's game? Would love to see him take on some of that attitude on the floor. Seems to have gone backwards in confidence. I mean, I just think it's confidence. He's just not in a great spot right now. Hopefully he'll come out of it. He's got some close friends here in Cleveland. You know, maybe this will be it. Maybe tonight's the night he busts out of it and gets rolling a little bit. But yeah, no, he's certainly, and you know, there's a lot going on. So I think he's feeling that. How much are people going to hate coming to ESA to play the Jazz in the future when Rudy and Favors are only going to get stronger together? Rudy and Favors have a chance to be an elite defensive front court for the future of the Utah Jazz. That's the reality, and that's pretty exciting. All right, that wraps up tip-off. Sorry for the video problems. I have no idea what's going on with that. Appreciate it very much. Have a great day. To anybody who's new to the show, thanks for tuning in.